email. You can email George Mora at wellandheritagecouncil.com. And George, if you want to put your email into the chat there, that would be fantastic. So we begin this meeting with a land acknowledgement. So the Welland Heritage Council and Multicultural Center would like to acknowledge that our AGM and our work that is taking place throughout the year is on the lands of the traditional territories of the Anishinaabe and Haudenosaunee, and within the lands protected by the Dish with One Spoon Wampum Agreement. We thank for all their contributions from the Aboriginal community in Niagara and beyond. I now ask Janet Madumi, our Executive Director, to present her ED report for this year's AGM. Janet?
Thank you, Kelly. Good evening, everyone, and thank you all for joining in our celebrations of achievements tonight. Welland Heritage Council and Multicultural Center have continued to play a pivotal role in building our community through comprehensive settlement programs. During the pandemic, we continue to offer settlement and integration service delivery through online methods. Although there were instances where immigrants were unable to come to Canada due to restrictions, several of our clients were granted protected status, permanent residency, and some even citizenship, which was most gratifying. Our emergency shelter was home away from home for our newcomers. With support from various funders, clients received further support and grocery cards to supplement their primary income. We faced several lockdowns as we began the new year, which significantly impacted our English as a second language program delivery. The exploration of virtual learning not only created an opportunity for continued education for current learners, but those who had sidelined due to lack of childcare. We successfully obtained more funding to purchase more Chromebooks loaned to students. Moreover, resources were provided to train students on the utilization of digital equipment and platforms. FedCap officially took over the management of employment services in January 2021. Amid the challenging employment environment that we face this year, our dedicated employment solution staff promptly reacted to possible changes and adopted new innovative procedures to support our clients in achieving their dreams of acquiring meaningful employment. We continued optimizing resources and client enhancement workshops, looking into feasible ways to deliver using the virtual platform and encouraging and addressing our valued clients' barriers. Our sincere gratitude to all the partnering organizations we work with, particularly Meridian Credit Union and community members who again came through in donating scholarship funds for our Black history. Together, we assist the younger generation to achieve the impossible. Another brick to build a new foundation for people who need some support. We are very grateful to all of our funders for their trust in our staff and organization to deliver the programs that support people in our community. Thank you to our board of directors, our volunteers, and staff who work tirelessly and are the pillar of this organization. As we put 2020, 2021 behind us, and as our theme says, facing forward, we look to 2021, 2022 with great expectations and hope for our community's better and more equitable future. The pandemic and the systematic racism has tested us as a community, and these challenges will continue. However, we remain strong and resilient as we brave the future in the new normal. Thank you. I will now take this time to call upon Anne, President of the Welland Heritage Council. Anne.
Thank you, Jan. Welcome to the Welland Heritage Council Multicultural Center, AGM. As President of the Welland Heritage Council and Multicultural Center, I would like to thank the executive and the board of directors for their dedication. I wish to acknowledge the strong leadership of our executive director and the very talented staff who work tirelessly to provide encouragement and support to our clients, including newcomers, job seekers, and employers during this trying year. In our 45th year of serving the community, we are proud to say that our agency will continue to provide quality programming and services, strengthening the needs of individuals, families, and the community, while creating cultural awareness and providing advocacy and opportunities. I want to thank the representatives and members of the cultural halls for your continued support of the Welland Heritage Council and Multicultural Center. In our 45th year, we will strive to work together to provide opportunities to celebrate our various heritage backgrounds, where you can hear and see the incredible talent we have in Welland that has originated from the different cultural groups. We thank the Membership Council for your participation in community events that create an awareness of a city of diverse cultures. Thank you to our community sponsors for the various fundraising events. Thank you for your assistance. Without your generous efforts, the Welland Heritage Council Multicultural Center would not be able to execute what we do. Open the doors again and let's start facing forward. As we continue to commemorate the tragic history of residential schools, the federal government has declared the 30th of September a federal holiday by recognizing the National Day for Truth and Reconciliation. All Canadians will be allowed to reflect, learn, grieve, and take collective action towards reconciliation. We mark this day as taking another important step forward as we walk along this shared path together. We will now move to the formal part of the AGM, and you will find a copy of the AGM agenda on the login link at the bottom, 2020 AGM meeting minutes, together with the annual report. Let us know if you would want a copy. I will introduce the board of directors if they can wave on the camera when your name is called. Thank you. Michael Charles, Margita Galette, April Jeffs, Paula Esposito, Debbie Anderson, Clara Sabo, Michelle Allenberg, Christina Clark Davis. We invite those interested in being part of our board to contact Janet Madoon or visit our website for more information. Board members are needed, just like every place else. It is my pleasure to call on our 2021 AGM to order. Our quorum is a proportion of board members entitled to vote. We have 9 members in good standing. I can report that we have more than 5 members present, therefore a quorum is met. Motions were passed earlier today before the meeting and will be presented as established. Again, please note that this webinar is being recorded for minute-taking purposes only. I now motion the approval of the 2020 AGM minutes. This was motioned by Michael Charles and seconded by Paula Esposito. All in favor? Any abstentions? Carried. Second, our annual report 2020-2021 has been shared via email with all participants. Please take your time to read in detail and see all our organization's exciting accomplishments over the last fiscal year. I will now call on our program leads to provide a brief overview of our programs. The first one is Lori. Lori, will you start?
Thank you, Anne. So the Niagara Foreign Credential Recognition Program assists internationally trained individuals to re-enter their professions in Canada or a close alternative. The program consists of three main parts. There's assistance with the foreign credential recognition process, career information, and the opportunity to apply for a loan for expenses, such as required courses and licensing. We have a partnership with Meridian Credit Union that makes this possible, and we're glad that Michael McKim from Meridian is able to join us this evening. And the loan helps newcomers to be able to re-enter their profession sooner, rather than having to work for years trying to save money to be able to complete their profession requirements. In addition, the Canadian Business for Internationally Trained Professionals program is ready to be launched through Brock University's Goodman School of Business, which will create another support for newcomers to be able to overcome barriers that could keep them from finding work that is commensurate with their education and work experience. We've been assisting internationally trained individuals in professions such as lawyer, accountant, pharmacist, dentist, physician, teacher, engineer, nurse, dietitian, architect, physiotherapist, financial services, and others. Advocacy is an important part of the program due to the complex processes with regulatory bodies and clients' unique circumstances. Due to COVID-19, licensing exams have been delayed, but some clients have successfully found work in their profession or an alternative that achieved their employment goals. We are grateful to you, our community partners, who have provided referrals and wraparound services to support our common goal of seeing newcomers to Canada using their valuable skills in the professions of their education and work experience. We anticipate an increase in clients served through this program in the year to come, as well as those who have been able to complete their licensing requirements. Thank you.
Thank you, Laurie, the hardworking girl here. Next, we have Kenny. This was settlement and integration. Kenny?
Thank you so much. Thank you. Newcomer Settlement Services is the name of our program. We have 2 settlement counselors currently, and the Newcomer Settlement Program provides information, referral, and general guidance to help refugee claimants and other new Canadians adjust to a new life in Canada. And services are free, always confidential, and include the following: assistance with employment-related needs, housing, education, health-related, etc. Connecting newcomers with other services and other service agencies, resources for translation and interpretation of documents, assistance with paperwork related to the settlement process. That includes government forms, correspondence, appointments, family reunification, and so on, and facilitating highly informative workshops and information sessions. And this benefits newcomers in several ways, and some of which are they learn about Canadian culture and values, they have a safe place to address concerns and challenges, receive adequate support, encouragement, and tools to help make the right decisions. And we are especially thankful for our partners right here in Welland and its surrounding areas, Niagara Falls Public Library, and others. We are proud to be able to provide services, especially during this very difficult time of the COVID-19 pandemic. Thank you.
Thank you, Kenny. Next, we have George. He's the flexible man. He can do anything. Okay, George.
Thank you very much, Anne, and thanks everybody for attending. I'll be touching up on 3 of our programs that we run at the center. The first one is English as a Second Language. So we have 3 different sites. One that we run at our center in Welland, another one at Grimsby, which is run at Grimsby Secondary, and we have a third one in Niagara Falls at West Lane. We run full-time classes Monday to Friday from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. and we run using the PBLA system with our Canadian benchmark levels, and our classes run from pre-benchmark level all the way to level 8. Our Niagara Prosperity Initiative program allows us to help newcomers and any clients that we receive in finding permanent housing So we're able to transition them over from any situation or any difficult situation that they might be in, and give them supports throughout their journey to finding safe and permanent housing. Sometimes that includes taking part into our emergency shelter, which is the next point that I'm going to be speaking on. Our emergency shelter is located at 26 East Main Street, just above our offices on the main floor. We have 9 units in total, some 2 bedrooms, some 1 bedroom, and we're able to help individuals in times of need and difficult times, again, from that transition to finding permanent housing. Our shelter has been running for many years, and we were fortunate enough to be able to renovate, as you guys heard on our last AGM, renovate our kitchens and our bathrooms, making it a little more comfortable for anybody that comes through. That's it.
Thank you, George. And now we're back to Kelly with the Employment Solutions. He runs both of them. Kelly?
All right, perfect. Thank you. So as Janet mentioned during her speech, we did go through a transformation. So we are still funded by Employment Ontario, but we have a new service manager named FedCap, who is test piloting services for the province in Niagara, Hamilton, Haldimand, and also Norfolk. So we're kind of a new area. So our staff have done a fantastic job. It always hasn't been easy, but taking on new programs, taking on new inputting services, new websites, all that sort of stuff, and doing a really fantastic job in learning under very unpredictable times during a pandemic. So I just want to thank the support of all our employment advisors, our employment outreach, our administrative coordinators, and program supervisors. It was a really challenging last year, but I think everyone is facing forward. That's why I like the name of this AGM today. So I think it's really important that we keep moving forward and helping our clients, and a client-first approach, which we've always had. And I just want to thank the board of directors and our executive director, Janet Madumi, for giving us supplies so we could safely work from home during the pandemic, such as laptops and phone services from our homes, and which made our staff so much easier to be able to serve our clients from the safety of their home, even during the toughest time of the pandemic, because employment was an essential service. A lot of people maybe couldn't collect funding from different levels of government during the pandemic, and we always had at least one of our offices open so clients can pick up their resumes, use a computer on emergency circumstances, and as well meet with our staff virtually to help with their job search, no matter what the case was. And also employers were looking for jobs as well during the pandemic and beyond. So it's really important for our services to maintain through this. So I want to thank FedCap, Employment Ontario, our board, and our executive director, but obviously most importantly, our staff that have been working frontline with all these clients, either face-to-face or virtually. We're seeing some very promising things. One of the key things is that the pandemic has also made us better. I think our website, I think our virtual services, our client portal, and the way we deal with clients is better. And as things open up with the vaccine, and our office felt regular today. And I really had a chance to kind of observe and see clients coming in on following protocols, using our computer, and talking to our staff, and so on. So it's good to see those promising things as we face forward and move forward for Niagara, and especially Welland, for employment. So once again, I'd like to thank FedCap, our board, our staff, and our executive director for a challenging but important year for Employment Solutions and the Welland Heritage Council. So thank you.
Thank you, Kelly. I'd like to thank our staff, Lori, Kenny, George, and Kelly, for the great job they have done this year. That's been a trying year, and they've worked hard with the staff and the people here together. Keep up the good work. Now I'd like to call upon Wayne O'Connell from Jones and O'Connell to present the 2020-2021 financial statements. And this was motioned by Michael and seconded by Debbie. Okay, Wayne?
Okay, thank
Yep.
you, Anne. Do I have the ability to share my screen?
Mhm.
Okay, great.
Right.
Okay. So I put up the copy of the financial statements for the year ended March 31st, 2021. First, I'll start with our independent auditors report. Our report is addressed to the members of the Welland Heritage Council and Multicultural Center. We do report on the statement of financial position, the statement of changes in net assets, the statement of revenue and expenses, and the statement of cash flows, as well as notes to the financial statements, which includes significant accounting policies, all for the year ended March 31st, 2021. On a high level, basically, we've offered a clean audit opinion that the financial statements are presented fairly in accordance with the accounting standards that govern not-for-profit organizations. In order to provide our opinion, we performed an audit in accordance with Canadian generally accepted auditing standards, which govern us as to how we perform and prepare our audit and obtain the audit evidence that is required to support our audit opinion. One of the key tenements of the auditing standards is that we do remain independent of the organization and we follow all ethical requirements with respect to performance of our audit. Just touching on some of the things we look for as part of our audit. Our audit is to obtain reasonable assurance that the financial statements as a whole are free from material misstatement, whether due to fraud or error. And our audit report, which includes our audit opinion, refers to that matter. I won't go into the specific details of the specifics of what we look at as part of our audit. I'll just mention that our audit was completed and approved by the board of directors on the date of June 17th, 2021. And it's signed by our firm, Jones & O'Connell LLP, Chartered Professional Accountants, Licensed Public Accountants. Now just touching on some of the financial highlights for the year. Per the statement of financial position, which shows the assets, liabilities, and net assets of the organization. So these are as of March 31st, 2021, with comparative figures for March 31st, 2020. So we'd see the total assets of the organization at the end of the year was $662,334. The biggest assets being cash on hand of $293,000 and property and equipment of $270,000. As well, there was some various items outstanding at the end of the year that were receivable, as well as some prepaid expenses and things of that nature, which are in the normal course of operations. On the liability side of things, total liabilities of the organization at the end of the year was $501,000. Cash liabilities or timing with respect to recognition of revenue. We have accounts payable and accrued liabilities of $124,000, which were the regular day-to-day expenses of the organization that were outstanding at the end of the year for services received prior to March 31st. Wages payable just relate to services provided by employees prior to March 31st that have been accrued of $21,875. Those amounts were obviously paid subsequent to year end. And deferred revenue of $224,000, which relates to monies received for programs in advance of year end related to 2020 fiscal periods or other special projects who have not taken place or whose expenses have not been incurred yet. The other larger deferred item is deferred contributions of $131,000. Those relate to funding received associated with property and equipment. So that's brought into income over the life of the related property and equipment. The bulk of that relates to the new improvements that were brought up earlier in the emergency shelters with respect to bathroom and washroom. So once you deduct your liabilities from your assets, the entity is sitting in a positive net surplus position of 160,539 at the end of March 31st, 2021. So let me just quickly go over what the actual revenue and expenses were for the year. From a high level point of view, total revenue for the year was $1,601,000. The biggest revenue source is obviously operational grants, which are made up of various operational grants disclosed in note 5 of the statements. I won't go over those in detail. I'll just mention that the operational grants in total are fairly consistent year over year, with the total grants being $1,488,000 for the 2021 fiscal year. Other major revenue sources are the shelter program, and that amounted to fairly consistent amount compared to last year, $66,000. And then you've got the amortization of the deferred contributions, which I mentioned earlier, relate to the grants for property and equipment. On the expense side of things, total expenses for the year were $1,482,000. Decrease compared to $1,563,000 last year. The largest expenses are obviously salaries and benefits with respect to the operational programs. So that represents about half of the expenses at $795,000. Other larger expenses are the advertising and promotion at $92,000. Communication expenses just under $40,000. Payments made to employees and employer incentives in the various programs of $71,000. Rent and property taxes, $151,000. Training expenses, $155,000. So those are some of the major expenses that make up the bulk of that total. So the income from operations before other expenses was $119,000. Reducing for the allocation of the cost of property and equipment, which is amortized over their useful lives. The allocation this year for that was $75,000. So that saw an annual surplus or an excess of revenue or over expenses of $43,624, which was added to your bottom line net assets carried forward. So overall, those are the results for the year. I will push it back to you, Anne.
Okay, thank you, Wayne. And Michael Charles made a motion to accept the financial statements, and it was seconded by Debbie, and all were in favor of it. Thank you for your good job. And now we'd like to make a motion to approve that Jones and O'Connell Chartered Professional Accountants be our auditor for the year 2021-2022. Paolo Esposito made a motion to accept them again, and it was seconded by Debbie Anderson, and all were in favor. Thank you. I would like to make a motion for adjournment of the 2021 AGM. And it was made by Paula and seconded by Debbie. Now I turn it back to Kelly Jones.
All right, thank you, Anne. We appreciate your support as the lead chair for our board of directors. So I think we've finished all the formal aspects of the meeting. And most importantly, I think that as an organization, Welland Heritage Council overall is ready to, as we mentioned, as a theme, face forward. Plenty of new challenges. We hope to get a lot of our great fundraising events back up and running this year in accordance with the City of Welland and, of course, local, regional, and health bylaws. But we miss the ladies' night. We miss our dragon boats and other big events, and the moving a chance to celebrate different heritages and cultures within the Welland area. And of course, we from an employment solutions standpoint, we want people to get back and working full time and doing the best they can and achieving their goals and upgrading their education. So overall, thank you very much for attending. We appreciate you carving out some time from your day. And please keep in touch with us if you're a guest. Keep checking our website, our social media, and see what exciting events we have unfold for 2022. Thank you.
Thank you, Kelly.